The space station floated above a dying red planet. Inside, lights flashed, music played, and people laughed. But this place was not for fun, it was for business. Human soldiers and alien traders filled the big metal hall. They came for one reason: the auction. The auction floor was a cold, bright room. Tall glass cages lined the walls. Inside each cage stood some alien women, different colors, shapes and sizes. Some looked scared, some looked angry, most had no emotion at all. They were called rentals. You could rent them for a day, or buy them forever. Captain Ray Thorne walked into the hall, his boots clicking on the metal floor. He wore a black military jacket, his face hard and tired. He had fought in 2 Star Wars. He didn't smile much anymore. His friend, Sergeant Mills, laughed beside him. "Come on, Ray," Mills said. "You need to relax. Pick one just for the night." Ray said nothing. He wasn't here for fun. He didn't know why he came. Maybe to remember what was wrong with this world. He walked past the cages slowly. Most of the women didn't look at him. Some tried to attract him with fake smiles. Some just stared at the ground. Then he saw her dot in the last cage at the end of the row. Stood a woman with light blue skin. Her eyes were deep purple, almost glowing. She didn't move. She didn't smile. She didn't look afraid. She just looked awake. Ray stopped. Something pulled him toward her. Her cage said, "Species unknown, name, none, age, estimated 23, human, years, status, emotion removed, safe rental use only, no memory, no memory." "Huh," Ray whispered. The woman turned her head and looked straight at him. Not like a slave, not like a machine. She looked at him like a real person. "Creepy one," Mills said. "She's not even blinking." Ray leaned closer. Behind the glass, her lips moved. Just one word, soft but clear: help. Ray stepped back. His heart beat faster. "Did you hear that?" he asked. "Hear what?" Mills said. She didn't say anything. Ray looked again. She stood still, her eyes calm. She said nothing now, but he was sure she had spoken. She had asked for help. Ray opened the digital panel on her cage. Her file popped up on the screen. It said she had been caught on a slave moon 4 months ago. Brain scanned, emotion removed. No family, no past, just a number now. But something was wrong. Something didn't fit. "She doesn't belong here," Ray said. "You want to rent her?" Mills asked, raising an eyebrow. Ray nodded slowly. "Yeah, just for the night." Mills laughed. "Didn't know you liked the quiet type." Ray ignored him and paid. The cage opened with a soft hiss. The woman stepped out. She didn't smile. She didn't flinch. She simply followed him like she already knew what to do. Back in his room, Ray sat on the bed while she stood by the wall, silent. "You can sit," he said. She didn't move. "What's your name?" he asked. No answer. "Why did you say help?" She blinked. Slowly, she turned her head toward him. Her voice was soft. "I don't know." "But you do know," Ray said. "You remember something, don't you?" She touched her head, confused. "I feel something, but I'm not supposed to." Ray leaned forward. "Who did this to you?" "I don't know," she whispered. "There is a room, bright lights, pain." Her hands began to shake. She sat on the floor, holding her knees. Ray watched her closely. This wasn't normal. Rentals didn't remember. Rentals didn't feel. She was different. He picked up a blanket and gave it to her. She looked at it, unsure what to do. "It's okay," Ray said. "I'm not going to hurt you." She took the blanket and wrapped it around herself slowly. "Do you have a name?" he asked again. She looked at him. Her eyes were wet, not with fear, but with something more human. "No name," she said. "But I remember stars, and running and a boy. Ray asked. She shook her head. "I don't know if it was me or a dream." Ray felt something inside him shift. This wasn't just a rental. This was a real person lost inside someone else's machine. He stood up and locked a door. "I'll figure this out," he said. "I'll help you remember." She looked up, eyes wide. For the first time, she smiled. Just a little. Outside, in the dark hall, another soldier passed by their room. He looked at the digital log on the door. Rental status, active, name, unknown. He frowned. No name. That one's trouble. Ray sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the strange alien woman who now sat quietly on the floor of his room. Her blue skin looked soft in the low light, and her glowing purple eyes watched the walls as if they held secrets from her past. She held the blanket close around her body, but not like someone who was cold. She held it like a shield, like she was trying to feel safe. He brought her some food. It was nothing special, just a simple pack of protein cubes and water. She did not touch it at first. She only looked at it carefully, as if trying to remember what it was for. "You need to eat," Ray said gently. Still she said nothing. Her hand slowly reached out and picked up one cube. She smelled it, then placed it back down. "What is your name?" Ray asked again. "I told you," she said softly. "I do not have one. That is impossible. Everyone has a name." "I forgot," she said quietly. Or maybe they took it. Ray did not understand how anyone could take away a name, but he had heard of alien brain wiping before. It was cruel but common, especially for those who were captured and sold. He wondered what kind of life she had before she ended up here in a glass cage. He moved closer and sat on the floor across from her. She did not flinch. She did not seem scared of him. She just looked tired and lost. "You said the word help to me back at the auction floor," Ray said. Why? She looked into his eyes for a long moment. Her voice was lower, now like she was speaking from deep inside her memories. Because you were the first one who looked at me like I was alive. Ray blinked. That sentence hit him harder than any weapon ever could. What do you remember? He asked. Flashes. She said, I remember cold rooms, metal chairs, voices. I remember lights in my face. I remember pain, then nothing. Then I was in the cage. Ray listened carefully. She was not like the others. He knew this was not acting. He had seen many rentals over the years. None of them had ever shown signs of real memory. Do you remember where you were from? He asked. She shook her head. But I remember stars. A map. Maybe it was a map or a star chart. I used to look at it every day. Are you a Pilati? Do not know. Maybe I was something else. A worker, a scientist. Ray stood up and walked to his desk. He pulled out a small tablet and turned it on. A star map appeared on the screen. He handed it to her. Anything looked familiar. She took the tablet with slow fingers. Her eyes scanned the stars. Her hand hovered over one small group in the corner of the galaxy. There, she said, that shape. I remember it. I used to trace that line every night. Ray zoomed in on the area. It was an old abandoned zone. No planets were listed, just asteroid fields and space junk. Why would she remember this place? He wondered what was there. He needed answers. But he knew going to command with this story would only bring trouble. They would take her away, run tests, erase whatever was left of her mind. Ray made a decision. He would protect her. He would find the truth without anyone knowing. You need a name. He said. Something to call you. She looked surprised. Why? Because you are not a machine. You are not just a rental. You are someone. She thought for a moment, then said quietly, Ray, that's your real name? I do not know, she said, but it feels right. Ray nodded. Alara, it suited her. She smiled again, a little more. This time, thank you, Captain. Just Ray, he said, then thank you. Ray. The room felt warmer now. Something had changed. Something real had started between them. Outside the room, in the shadow of the hallway, a small robot floated by. It paused for a moment, scanning the door. It sent a silent signal to a nearby control center inside. That control center, a red light blinked. On a screen, subject 0 activity detected, location confirmed. A voice on the speaker said, one of the missing ones is awake. Again, alert the handlers, prepare for retrieval. But Ray and Alara did not know. They were inside the room, sharing a quiet moment between two strangers now bound by fate. Ray looked at her one last time before turning off the lights. You are safe here, he said. She nodded and whispered, I hope so. The station lights flickered as if something deep in the ship had started to stir again. Alara sat on the bed, her hands folded gently on her lap. Her eyes stared forward, not blinking, not moving. She looked calm, but her mind was not still. Ray stood near the window, watching stars pass by in the black sky. The room was quiet, but not silent. There was always a low hum in space, as if the universe was breathing beside you. You did not sleep? He asked without turning around. She shook her head. I see things when I close my eyes, not dreams, just pieces. What kind of pieces? What kind of pieces? Metal corridors, red lights, a voice in my ear telling me to run and hide. I remember cold hands grabbing me from behind, and a strange man with a broken face who said I belonged to him. Now Ray turned slowly. Alara was shaking again, just slightly, like her body remembered fear, even when her mind did not. Come here, he said. Sit near the heat panel. She obeyed without speaking, and sat down near the small wall heater. Her fingers brushed against the warm metal. She closed her eyes. Alara, Ray said gently, I want to know who you are, but I also want you to be ready when the truth comes. Truth is not always kind. I know, she whispered. I feel something terrible happened, something I do not want to see, but I also feel I must know. Then let us start small. Ray picked up his tablet and placed it on the floor between them. This is a memory file stimulator. It helps people recall lost thoughts, only if they are still in the brain somewhere. Do you want to try? She looked at him and nodded slowly. He opened the program. A wave of blue light scanned across the screen. He placed her hand gently on the tablet. The device began to blink. Her eyes widened. I hear something, she said, a voice. A song. It is in a language I do not understand, but it feels familiar. Sing it, Ray said softly. She sang just a few notes, low and quiet. The sound was not human. It moved like water. It floated like wind. Ray listened in silence. Then his eyes widened. I have heard that before. It is an old pre-war signal code, a deep space emergency call used by research ships. Her head tilted to the side. I was on a research ship, she said. I remember wires, panels, a round room with glowing walls. I worked there. I was someone important. Do you remember the ship's name? Ray asked. Alara closed her eyes again. Her fingers pressed harder against the tablet. Her voice shook. Project Halcyon. Ray searched quickly. The name was restricted, top secret. No details, just one line. Status destroyed, no survivors. He frowned. This project was wiped from records. Why would she be part of something erased by both alien and human government? Sella stood up suddenly. She walked to the mirror in the room and stared at her reflection. My hair, she said. I remember cutting it myself before I ran. I cut it so they would not find me. I changed my face too. There was a machine. It hurt, but I changed. Ray stood behind her, watching her closely. Why were you running? She turned to him, her voice sharper now. I stole something from them, a file, a code, something deadly. I knew it was wrong. I wanted to stop it. What kind of code? I Do not know, but it had numbers. I still see them every time I close my eyes. She turned back to the mirror and started whispering the numbers to herself one by one. Slowly, Ray quickly wrote them down. This was no normal memory. These were coordinates or access keys. He could feel it. You were trying to destroy the project, Ray said. You were not a victim. You were a whistleblower. Nodded. I remember alarms, sirens, a fire. I ran into a pod. I locked myself in and sent myself into deep space. I thought they would never find me, but they did. Ray looked at the numbers again. He knew someone out there was watching, listening, waiting for this code to resurface. We need to leave the station, he said quietly. Where will we go? Anywhere but here. If they find you again, they will not just wipe your memory this time. She walked up to him and held his hand. You believe me? She said. Yes, I do. You, Ray. He looked at her and saw something new in her face. Strength, not just fear, not just sadness, but the strength of someone who had escaped and was now ready to fight outside. The door in the shadows of the hallway. Someone stood watching. A tall man in black with no name tag and no face expression. He touched his ear and whispered into a communicator. Target confirmed. Prepare for silent retrieval tonight. No noise, no witnesses. The night was colder than usual inside the metal walls of the space station. Ray sat at the edge of his bed holding the small paper where Alara had written the numbers. They were coordinates. He was almost sure of it, but the mystery behind them felt much larger than just a lost memory. Alara stood by the window, looking out into the stars. Her purple eyes reflected the light of distant suns. She did not speak for a long time. Her silence was heavy, not empty, but full of something waiting to break. I think someone is coming, she said. Finally, Ray turned quickly. Why do you think that? I feel it in my skin, she said. I used to feel this before danger. Something always moved through the air like heat without fire or sound without noise. It is close now. R.A. Check the monitor on the wall. Nothing on the radar. No signs of movement, no alerts, but he trusted her. If they want you back, he said quietly. She nodded yes, and they do not ask. They take. We have to leave, he said, now more serious than ever. Grab only what you need and stay close. She moved quickly, gathering the small bag Ray had packed earlier, just in case. He took the tablet, the code, the memory scanner, and one emergency beacon. As they opened the door, the hallway was silent. Two silent lights flickered slightly, and a low vibration moved through the floor like something large had landed on the upper deck. Without permission, Ray led the way through the back corridors, avoiding the main paths. He knew this station well. He had trained here before many years ago, back when he still believed the war had meaning. They reached the cargo bay. It was mostly empty at night. A few crates, a few drones, a small loading ship waiting in the far corner. As they stepped forward, a voice echoed behind them, going somewhere. Captain. Ray turned fast. A tall man in black stood in the shadows. His face was half covered with a mask. His eyes had no color, just silver reflection. Let her go, Ray said. This has nothing to do with your kind anymore. The man stepped forward. No, you do not understand. She is not a woman. She is a container. She holds something inside that does not belong in the wild. She is not a container, Ray said. She is a person. Not anymore, the man replied and raised his hand. A pulse weapon charged in his palm, glowing blue. Alara stepped in front of Ray without thinking. Her body moved faster than logic. Her hand reached out, and the energy blast froze in the air for a moment, then vanished. Ray stared in shock. How did you do that? I do not know, she said, but it happened once before in the lab. When I escaped, I touched the door and it melted. The masked man stepped back slightly. Then he spoke into a small device. Bring the drones now. From the ceiling above, two black machines dropped silently. Their wings folded out and red lights blinked like angry eyes. Run, Ray said and grabbed her hand. They ran toward the loading ship. The door opened with a scan and they jumped inside. Ray activated the launch controls. As lasers hit the side of the ship, the engines roared and the small craft lifted off, breaking through the dock bay gates into the open sky. Behind them, alarms began to ring throughout the station. Soldiers ran in every direction, but they were already too late. Alara held the wall, breathing fast, her hands glowing slightly. Her skin pulsed like it remembered something. Her voice shook. I was made for something more than science. I was designed. They changed. Mary looked at her. You are not a weapon then. What am I? She asked. You are a survivor. They flew in silence for a while, until the ship left the station's range and the stars opened around them like endless roads waiting to be followed. Ray opened the tablet and entered the numbers. A map appeared. A line drew itself through empty space toward a system with no name. That is where you were trying to go before you were captured, he said. Maybe answers are waiting there, or more danger, she said softly. We will face it together, he replied. She looked at him again. Her eyes were not full of fear now. They held something else. Something warm, something brave. In the distance behind them, a larger ship began to move. It had no name, no flag, no light. It followed without a signal, hiding in the shadow of space inside that ship. The man in black watched their direction. His voice was calm. Let them run. They always run. We just follow. The stars moved faster than before. As the small ship jumped through space, each second stretched longer, each minute felt heavier. Ray sat in the pilot's seat watching the controls. His eyes scanned the signals, hoping for peace but knowing it would not last. Alara sat beside him holding the tablet with the coordinates. Her fingers moved across the screen, tracing the same star path again and again. She looked calm, but her heartbeat was not. They are still behind us, she said. Yes, Ray answered, but they are not close. Yet we have time to breathe. I do not think they will stop, she said. They know. I remember They want me silent. Ray leaned back in his seat and looked at her. You do not have to run alone anymore. I will not let them take you, she smiled. For a second, just enough to show she believed him. After one more jump, the ship reached a small system. A faded sun glowed weakly in the center, and a few rocky planets circled like tired guards. That one, she said, pointing at a dark moon just beyond. The third planet. That place feels right. Ray adjusted the ship and moved closer. The moon had no name, no lights, no signs of life. Only sharp mountains and silent dusts. They landed near a cliff where the rocks made a natural wall around them. The ship's engines cooled slowly and the sound of space returned. Quiet, endless, never resting. Lara stepped outside. Her boots touched the soil and a strange feeling moved through her. She knelt and touched the ground. I have walked here before, she said softly. I can feel it under my skin. Ray followed her, looking around for danger, but seeing only stone and shadow. They walked toward a cave hidden behind tall spires. Lara moved faster now, like her body knew the way before her mind could remember. Inside the cave, the air was colder, walls were smooth, not natural. Someone had carved them long ago, held a light and shone it on the stone. Symbols appeared, lines, circles and numbers. They looked like language, but not one he knew. She stopped in front of one wall and placed her hand on it. A small sound echoed through the cave and a hidden panel opened. Behind it was a box made of glass and silver. Inside the box was a device glowing with soft green light. What is it? Ray asked. Lara stared at it. For a long moment. This was my work, she said. My real work, not the weapon they wanted, but the key to stop it. This device shuts down their signal, the one they use to control minds, to erase memory, to turn people into tools. Ray stepped closer. So you created the Kerno, she said. I found it. I only helped build the shell to protect it. She reached into the box and lifted the device. It pulsed once as if it knew her touch. The moment she held it, the memory returned. Her eyes widened and her knees shook. She saw the lab again. She saw her team. She saw the moment she refused the order to destroy the cure. She saw herself running, hiding, bleeding. And she saw the face of the man who caught her. He wanted control. He wanted power. He did not care about peace or safety. His voice still rang in her ears. Give me the key or die. Lara looked at Ray. I remember all of it. Now we need to get this to someone who can protect it. Ray said. No, she answered. We cannot trust anyone yet. First we must destroy the other signal, the one that tracks me, the one they use to follow us. Where is it? Ray asked. Before she could answer, the ground shook. A loud blast echoed from outside and dust fell from the ceiling. They found us, Ray said. He grabbed her hand and ran back toward the ship. Outside, the sky had turned red and fire streaked across it. The shadow ship had arrived. Lara jumped into the co-pilot seat and began charging the engines. Ray activated shields and locked the device into a secure pod. As the enemy ship fired again, Ray lifted off. Rocks exploded behind them as they rose into the sky. They flew higher and faster, dodging beams of heat and waves of metal. The ship shook with every hit, but it held together. Lara closed her eyes and touched the control panel. Her hand glowed, and the ship responded like it could feel her mind. She opened her eyes and spoke clearly. Jump. Now. Ray hit the command and the stars bent around them. Space twisted. Time stretched. They vanished into the dark behind them. The enemy ship floated over the moon. Smoke covered the cave. The man in black walked through the dust, looking at the empty box. He did not speak. He only turned and whispered into his device. She has the key again. The ship floated quietly above a broken planet. Rays of a dying sun passed through cracked clouds and dust moved like slow waves over the surface. Nothing moved, nothing called. It was a place the galaxy had forgotten. Ray looked out from the ship's window. His eyes followed the silence, searching for something he could not name. Lara stood beside him, holding the device close to her chest. Her hands were steady, but her heart felt heavy. They cannot follow us here, Ray said. This system has no signals, no satellites, no gates for now, she replied. But they will keep looking. Ray walked to the console and opened the map again. The code inside the device had shown another location, a place deep in unclaimed space, a planet with no name but one, marked with a single note, safe for transmission. If we go there and send the signal, this device will shut down the mind control tech across 5 sectors, he said. That includes the station that built you and others like you. Lara sat down slowly on the floor of the ship. She looked at her hands as if they knew if I do this, I will never be hidden again, she said. They will know who I am. They will know I broke the design. You are not broken. Ray said. You are free. She looked up at him. What is freedom? She asked. I still feel like I belong to someone, or something, like I am waiting to be used again. Ray sat beside her and spoke with care. I want to offer you something, not as a captain, not as a soldier, but as a man who believes you are more than a mission. Watched him without speaking. Her breath slowed. When I first saw you on the auction floor, Ray continued, I saw someone who wanted out, not someone for rent, not someone empty. I do not want to own you. I want to choose you, and I want you to choose me. Lara closed her eyes. A warm light filled her mind. For the first time in years, I do choose you, she whispered. Not because I must, not because you saved me, but because when I am with you I remember what I was before I became a product. Ray smiled. Then let us erase that number in your record. Let us buy your freedom and burn the receipt. They landed on a nearby neutral outpost, a place where names could be changed and data could vanish. a place where credits were accepted and questions were. Ray walked into the registry center. With Alara beside him, he placed his military ID on the console and gave the data file he had prepared, requesting full removal of ownership codes on subject Alara. He said full transfer to independent status with no ties to prior rental systems. Machine scanned his ID and paused. Request requires full value compensation, said the voice. 22,000 credits. Ray placed his private chip on the counter. The screen flashed green. Accepted, said the voice. Alara is now a free individual. Ray turned to her. It is done. She looked at the screen slowly. Her name now showed as citizen, not cargo, not rent. I did not think I would feel different, she said, but I do. They walked back to the ship quietly. Alara watched the stars above the outpost and whispered a name home. Ray looked at her. You have one now. Wherever you choose it to be inside the ship. Alara placed the device back into its chamber. The ship began to move toward the transmission point far beyond the nearest system as they traveled. Ray showed her pictures of Earth's old places he once visited, green mountains, deep oceans, crowded cities. She smiled at a picture of falling snow. I want to see that one day, then we will. Ray said. They rested that night without fear for the first time. In days, the stars outside were still, but the fire behind them was not going. In another part of space, the man in black stood in front of a council of silent figures. She has activated the bond, he said. He has erased her registry. The council said nothing. They will send the signal soon, he added. A new voice finally spoke. Then it is time to use the failsafe. The man nodded. If she remembers too much, she becomes the trigger, not the cureback. On the ship, Alara woke from a deep sleep. Her head felt warm. Her fingers trembled. Ray, are you awake? She asked. Yes, what is wrong? Something is waking up inside me, she said. Something they left behind. Something I did not see before. Ray sat beside her. What do you mean? The device is only part of it, she said. The real signal is inside me. I am the final code. The stars outside no longer felt safe. The space between them now held something sharp, something alive. Alara sat in silence, her eyes closed, her body still, but inside her mind everything was breaking open. Ray watched her from the control seat. You could feel something had shifted, not around them but within her. He reached out, touched her shoulder and spoke gently. Alara, talk to me. What is happening? Her eyes opened slowly. They were no longer just purple. They glowed with lines of gold as if wires had formed behind them. I know now, she said. I know what they did to me. What did they do? Ray asked. They hid the final part of the control system inside me, she said. Not just memories, not just commands, but the root signal, the one that keeps the others asleep. Ray stood frozen. If we destroy the device, will it stop them? No, she said softly. It is only half of it. The rest is inside me. My voice, my breath, my body. If they send the call and I respond, the chain activates across all systems. Every controlled mind stays locked. Every rental stays blind. So if we stop you, they lose control. Ray said yes, she answered, but I must send one signal first. The final one, the cure. I am the messenger. Ray moved to the console. Bring it up now. Load the coordinates. For transmission. Ella stepped forward and placed her hand on the panel. The screen changed, glowing white. The code inside her had begun to rise. Each number, each pattern unlocked another line of the transmission. We have one shot, she said. After this, they will come with everything, then we make it count. Ray said. The ship reached the signal point above a silent planet, empty and cold. A perfect place to send the pulse. No interference, no delay. Alara looked out the window and whispered a name to herself, not one Ray had ever heard, but one that felt like hers, a name from before she became a tool, before she became a ghost. She stepped into the central chamber where the transmission core waited. Her body lit up with soft energy. Her skin shimmered like the stars she once studied. The final code moved through her veins and into the system. I am ready, she said. Ray watched the screen. The bar filled slowly, line by line. The world changed back in deep space. The enemy ship jumped through the dark sky faster than light. Inside, the man in black gave the final command: target the signal source, end the message before it spreads. Lasers locked. Ships followed. Fire moved. Ray saw them coming. He activated shields, pressed launch and moved the ship into evasive flight, but Alara stayed still. The message had begun. It could not stop now. Keep going, Ray, she said through the speaker. No matter what happens, keep going. He dodged the first hit, then another, but the third shook the entire craft. Systems blinked. Lights cracked. They will not stop, he said. I know, she answered. That is why I must finish it. Now she reached into the core and pulled the final switch. Her body arched slightly, her hands trembled, her voice echoed not just through the ship but through the stars. Wake up. The signal burst out faster than light. A wave of gold and silver passed across the galaxy, unseen but not unfelt. In 100 hidden labs in 1,000 silent minds, something cracked. The rentals blinked. They looked around. They felt. Again, they remembered back in the chamber. Alara fell to her knees. Her breath slowed. Her skin faded from gold to blue again. Ray ran to her, held her gently in his arms. You did it, he whispered. You sent it. Yes, she said, but they are here. The enemy ship descended without warning, weapons charged. A voice spoke through the comms. Surrender. The Acetre stood in front of her. She is not an asset, he said. She is the reason you lost. A blast hit the ship's wing. Fire spread. Power failed. Ray looked down at Alara. Her eyes opened one last time. You made me real, she said. Thank you. The ship exploded with a silent flash. Far Away on Earth, news spread of mines returning, of systems crashing, of rentals waking to their names. Again Ray was listed among the fallen, a hero unknown, a soldier unnamed. But weeks later, on a quiet farm far from the cities, a woman walked across the field with blue skin and calm eyes. She wore a necklace with a small chip inside it, the same chip that once carried the cure. Child ran up to her and called her Nami Aloroshi, smiled and opened her arms. The stars above were quiet again.